Gerard Mackin, a formidable presence towering at 6 feet tall, commands respect and instills fear from Limerick to Belfast. Known as a notorious enforcer in the criminal underworld, his name evokes dread due to his extensive history of violence. One particularly gruesome act involved using a nail gun to immobilize a victim, cementing his reputation as one of Ireland's most brutal criminals. His notoriety attracted the attention of the Kinahan Cartel, who recognized his capabilities and offered him a lucrative contract worth €1 million to eliminate their rival, Gerry Hutch. In this video, we delve into the compelling narrative of Mackin's rise as a feared figure in gangland, exploring the events that shaped his reputation as one of Ireland's most violent underworld figures. Let's delve into it. Gerard Mackin hails from the challenging streets of West Belfast, where a life of crime seemed inevitable. His association with dangerous groups such as the Continuity IRA and the Irish National Liberation Army only heightened his infamy. Even in his teenage years, Mackin's imposing stature and involvement with dissident republicanism set him apart. Standing over 6 feet tall with fiery red hair, he struck an intimidating figure. Mackin's early years were marked by his affiliation with the Continuity IRA, where he earned a reputation as an enforcer. The group, known for its paramilitary-style tactics, targeted young men suspected of criminal involvement with punishment shootings. These extrajudicial actions were intended to deter criminal activity without involving law enforcement. However, convictions resulting from these attacks were rare, as the groups operated outside the bounds of the legal system. In 2008, Gerard Mackin's propensity for violence culminated in a life-altering event: his sentencing to life in prison by the Special Criminal Court. The charges stemmed from the ruthless murder of Eddie Burns, a beloved Belfast taxi driver and father of 5. Mackin's conviction also included charges of attempted murder, possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life, and causing grievous harm to Damien O'Neill. During the trial, O'Neill, the key witness for the prosecution, recounted the harrowing events of that fateful night. Mackin, accompanied by another man, had spent the evening drinking at various pubs in West Belfast before ending up at the Beehive Bar on the Falls Road. Burns unwittingly arrived at the bar in his taxi, where Mackin promptly initiated a hijacking, brandishing a firearm. Forcing Burns into the back seat alongside O'Neill and another passenger, Mackin proceeded to stop the car. As Burns pleaded for mercy, Mackin callously shot him in the back of the head. In a courageous attempt to escape, O'Neill wrestled the gun from Mackin and fled. However, Mackin relentlessly pursued him, ultimately shooting O'Neill in the arm and then the neck. Despite his injuries, O'Neill miraculously survived the ordeal and sought assistance. Mackin's cold-blooded actions that night left a community reeling and marked him as a dangerous and ruthless criminal. On that same fateful night, Joesph Jones, a close associate of Burns, met a tragic demise in an alley in the Ardouin area of North Belfast. Drawn there under false pretenses from his friend's house, Jones faced a brutal fate when the gun intended for his demise malfunctioned. Instead, he was savagely beaten to death with a spade. The gruesome scene left even the attending priest overcome with horror, unable to contain his nausea. Both Burns and Jones, once members of the Continuity IRA, had severed ties with the organization to form their own group. Accusations swirled that they had pilfered weapons from their former associates for their new venture. Throughout the ensuing legal proceedings, Mackin vehemently denied any involvement in the murders. His conviction was initially overturned in 2010 by the Court of Criminal Appeal, which ordered a retrial. However, the retrial in 2011 faltered when O'Neill, the key witness, succumbed to intimidation and refused to testify, resulting in the collapse of the case and Mackin's release. But Mackin's reprieve was brief. In 2016, he found himself back in custody and was subsequently convicted for a barbaric assault committed in 2015. During this incident, a traveler known for his ties to the furniture trade was lured to a designated location, where he faced a terrifying ordeal. 3 assailants, dressed in white protective suits and purporting to be affiliated with the IRA, demanded a substantial sum of €15,000. They subjected the victim to a vicious assault, using a nail gun to cruelly affix one of his feet to the floor. Following surgery to remove the nails, the victim received a chilling warning from one of the attackers, instructing him to refrain from involving the police. Evidence presented during the investigation implicated Mackin and his associates in the assault. CCTV footage suggested their collaboration, indicating a concerted effort to exploit opportunities left by the waning influence of the McCarthy-Dundon gang. Under the guise of IRA or INLA affiliation, they sought to extort money from unsuspecting victims, perpetuating a cycle of violence and intimidation. Before his arrest for the extortion incident, Gerard Mackin held a prominent role within the new INLA, exerting significant influence, particularly in Limerick. Originally from Belfast, Mackin harbored aspirations of leading his own dissident Republican organization. However, his quest for leadership within the INLA was fraught with internal power struggles, pitting him against rivals like Declan Duffy and Redgar Byrne. Mackin's volatile nature rendered him unsuitable for such leadership, prompting him to splinter off and establish his own faction, known as the New INLA. Joined by his close associate, Keogh, Mackin's breakaway group aligned itself with the Kinahan Cartel in their violent feud against the Hutch gang. Although incarcerated during the notorious Regency shooting of 2016, which saw Daniel Kinahan narrowly escape assassination, Mackin's new INLA faction was implicated in a feud-related killing. Keogh in particular was convicted for the murder of Gareth Hutch in Dublin in 2016 and is currently serving a life sentence. Mackin's association with Keogh underscores his deep involvement in the violent underworld. This involvement became even more apparent during the trial of Gerry Hutch, accusations of involvement in the murder of David Byrne during the Regency Hotel attack in February 2016. Gerry Hutch ultimately acquitted, further highlighting the complexities and dangers of his criminal associations. However, revelations emerged during trial that shed light on his international connections. It was uncovered that he had made a trip to Dubai, flying first class on an Emirates flight from Dublin, purportedly for a meeting with Daniel Kinahan. Reports suggested that during this meeting, Mackin was offered a staggering €1 million contract by the Kinahan cartel to eliminate their rival Gerry Hutch. As a sign of their commitment, Mackin received an initial payment of €100,000, with the promise of a further $900,000 upon completion of the task. Despite his involvement in the Limerick extortion case, Mackin's behavior during his subsequent prison sentence was surprisingly compliant, earning him a reputation as a model prisoner. However, suspicions lingered regarding his alleged orchestration of drug deals within the confines of Castlerea Prison in County Roscommon. Upon his release, Mackin took evasive action, fleeing to Spain with his family in September 2021. In response, a European arrest warrant was issued for his apprehension in 2022. Mackin's flight from justice coincided with the arrest of Johnny Morrissey, a senior figure in the Kinahan cartel known for his involvement in money laundering. Mackin's capture occurred in Alicante, just a week after Morrissey's arrest. The sequence of events leading to his capture began when vigilant guards noticed a suspiciously parked car outside Mackin's residence in April 2019. Upon searching the vehicle, they uncovered a stash of €4,780 in cash, along with an Aquarius phone and an iPhone wrapped in bubble wrap and bound together with elastic bands. Mackin maintained that the money found belonged to him and was intended for his fiancée, even providing a loan receipt as evidence. However, despite his claims, he was apprehended and brought to Henry Street Garda Station for interrogation. Following his release, a file was forwarded to the Director of Public Prosecutions. Subsequently, Mackin fled to Spain with his family, where he secured employment on a construction site. However, his escape was short-lived, as he was arrested a year later and extradited back to Ireland. Upon his return, Mackin faced charges of money laundering and was ultimately convicted, receiving a 3.5-year prison sentence. The presiding judge acknowledged that while the sum of money involved was relatively modest, the circumstances surrounding the case strongly suggested Mackin's involvement in serious organized criminal endeavors in the Limerick region. Confined to the high-security Portlaoise prison, Mackin found himself in the company of other notorious members of the Kinahan cartel, including Fat Freddie Thompson, Peter Keating, and David Duffy. Looking towards his eventual release, Mackin expressed plans to return to Spain with his family, aiming to make a fresh start. He has voiced regret for his past actions and is committed to turning his life around. As today's video concludes, we invite you to share your thoughts on the topic in the comments section. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for future updates and content.